good tears because I'm like, this is a big part of my...
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I ever would have pictured myself being willing to do anything like that is hard in that way. Because it's a weekly meeting to confront the worst parts of yourself and demand that it changes.
Right.
So there is a common question. How much work is this? I've seen you and Laura. I always say the same thing. I said, that's a fair question. I said, let me offer you a better question. How free do you want to be? Lights On is sponsored by BetterHelp. It's okay to struggle. Real strength comes from opening up about what you're carrying and doing something about it so you can be at your best for yourself and for the people in your life that you love. Therapy is not just about trauma. It's about learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries in your life that create new freedom. With over 35,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people. And it works too, with an App Store rating of 4.9 based on over 1.7 million client reviews. And it's convenient. You can join a session with a therapist at the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. Plus, you can switch therapy and therapists at any time. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a variety of expertise. So talk it out with BetterHelp. So our listeners get 10% off of their first month at BetterHelp.com/lightson. That's BetterHelp.com/lightson.
Welcome back to Lights On with Carl Lentz.
And Laura Lentz.
Oh, wow. Thanks.
Yeah. You love that. You got your tea?
I do, my matcha.
Your matcha?
Yep. If anyone wants to sponsor me for matcha, I will 100%
Just
do
for
a
that-
good ad for
just
you.
for that? Just for that?
Yeah.
Do you think people would do that? Just sponsor
Probably.
you? Do you want to go off one of your little conspiracy theory tin hat rails about what matcha is?
Well, matcha is a great caffeine alternative. It is caffeine, but it's different to coffee because there's no crash in the caffeine.
Right.
And it's full of antioxidants because it's just powdered green tea leaves.
Right.
Comes from Japan.
Does it? Oh, really?
Yep.
Just Japan? Right. So in
Well, the really good stuff
in
comes from
regards to
Japan.
the lack of crash.
So I use, oh no, I'm not going to say which one I use.
Yeah, don't use that, but until they pay you. But the lack of crash, do you think they got those stats in an accurate way, or are they
Absolutely.
just throwing it out there? How do they gauge that stat?
I don't know, but it's an
It has
old...
less of a, how many people did they survey? How many people did they check on to see whether
I don't
the
need
crash is
all
real
your-
or not?
I don't
Lights
need all
on.
your banter.
We are here.
I like my matcha.
We are
It's
gonna-
good for my skin and my hair.
We are going to pick up right where we left off. If you're brand new to Lights On, we love you. Glad you're here. Glad you're checking this out. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. Helps us out. We began a discussion last week. We realized as we did it, it was a lot of information, and some of it's relatively heavy. So we're going to just go right back into part 2. So you got to go back one episode if you're new to this to check out the first part, because this is about the work. The work. What do people mean when they say that? And we covered this last week. The work is the intentional repair and then rebuild after you have been through a crisis. And what we were highlighting was really it's just a good way to live. But especially if you're trying to overcome something that is huge in your life, this is stuff that works. And we talked about the 3 places we point people to, the place of discovery, the place of healing. And today we're just going to focus in on the third part, which is the place of growth. So the place of discovery is where you find out the why, not just the what. Who in the world are you? Who have you been? And who are you becoming? If you skip that step, you might as well just write off what could be a beautiful future, because that's where you find out the wiring.
Yeah.
And then the healing is where we talked about last week. Do not try to sprint and heal at the same time. This is why most people sputter and then crash again, because they had a chance to heal after they discovered something, but they rushed back into whatever they felt like was more important. And that's the hard truth. And there has to be a moment in your life where you are able to heal without the pressure of trying to run, lift, lead, preach, function. You have to find a way to create that space.
Yeah.
a place of healing. And then it leads us to number 3, the place of growth. The most exciting word, where I feel like we are able to sit now. And what must be said in this part of the work is I am committed to the journey of becoming. So if you picture this, if you're listening and you're like, all right, we've been through something, what can the road look like? You go to the place of discovery. This is what happened and why. You go to the place of healing. This is what I'm going to really focus on. And I'm going to allow healing to actually take place. I'm not going to run on a broken leg. Then you get to a place of growth, and it looks like intention. It looks like a plan. It looks like constant ownership, and it looks like consistency over convenience. And this is the big part about this place, love, that I like to point people to. You need trusted voices telling you it's time to grow, that are not each other. Mm-hmm. And whenever we have people driving their own car, I liken it to, if you get out of surgery and you're driving your own car, there's a good chance you're going to go back to the hospital because you got into a wreck and it had nothing to do with your driving. It's like when you get out of the hospital from intensive care, last thing you want to do is drive. When I talk to people that are thriving and they've been through what we've been through, and even in our own lives, we gave over the keys. Even if we feel great, even if we feel good, I'm not going to trust myself fully in some regards for a really long time. And you need other people who are able to say, hey, now it's time. What are we going to do with the discovery? What are we going to do with the healing? Now it's time to grow. This is called the rest of your life. Yeah. And this is an important differential, though, because if you see this process that has a due date and a completion date, you're missing the whole concept of this beautiful life of becoming. So we haven't reached a point now where we're like, we're good, we're healed, we've discovered, we've healed, we've grown. I don't think that world exists.
I don't think there's any place where it's like, okay, I'm done healing now. Let's go to the next step. It's like healing is constant and always happening.
We call it the launch pad.
Yeah.
From a place of healing, now you're ready to potentially live in this place of growth. And here is the truth check that's going to be hard to hear. And you might want to send this to somebody in your world. They need it, but if one spouse is dragging the other one to grow, you're not here yet. Mm-hmm. You're skipping discovering, probably healing.
Yep.
And this looks like and you get this a lot, and it's hard for me to hear and read because you will hear from people from all over the world who will say, my husband cheated, he broke my heart, and he's really reluctant now to get any help or therapy. What should I do? We both go,
that one.
This is the worst place to be.
Yeah.
This is someone who has discovered nothing, healed nothing, and wants to fix some surfacey things. And if you have to get someone who has betrayed you to now step up and own their life, you need to start looking for a new somebody.
Yeah.
It is a giant red flag. And you've seen that with the experience you've had with women.
100%. I mean, for me, my work was my work. You did your work. And when we did that, we've been able to build our own healing journey in that. Then you can come together and do, grow and all of that. But you have to have someone who's doing their own work. So a lot of women I have experienced have said, how do I find, the same help that Carl got? Or where did you go? And it's like,
I found my help.
Yeah. I have, your husband has to do his own work to prove that he's serious about it.
Here's a weapon for some of the wives out there who need to hear it. Tell your husband to employ some of that same ingenuity he used to live, whether it's a double life or whether it's to break down your marriage. Use some of that same determination and put it towards getting some real healing and some real growth and some real help. And this is a huge part, though, because this is where you have that separation of sometimes you'll have the person who's been betrayed the most, and they now take on the role of a parole officer.
Yeah.
This is like, I'm pushing. I demand that you go get some help. If you have to demand that the person who has betrayed every bit of confidence does anything, it's a sign in and of itself that you get to consider.
It's time. Yeah, it could be time to move on.
Now, if you do have people that have done the work of discovery, and then they've done the work of beginning that journey of healing, now you're able to grow together. And I think that's where the beautiful, fun part of this happens. But we're in that chapter to a degree because the discovery and the healing is ongoing.
Right.
And it puts us in a position to, okay, who are we going to become? But if you try to start I talk to couples who are trying to restart marriage stuff, and I'm like, bro, you still don't know who you are.
Yeah.
How are you going to do a new marriage template?
Yeah, the couple thing is the couple therapy or the counselors from church. It's like,
Yeah, we have our thoughts about couples counseling, and it's this. Couples counseling is great. It's very resourceful for some people. That is true. And we have found it to be extremely effective for people to do their own work. And then at maybe another time, sure, if you need help, if you need mediation, if you don't feel safe, couples counseling can be great. But if you're dragging your spouse to a couples therapy thing, I don't think that's necessarily the most beneficial moment, especially if one person is very, very guilty and another person isn't.
Right.
This person shouldn't be getting catered to on top of everything else. Mm-hmm. That's what we see often. And it's a huge empowerment moment for this other person to be able to face down their fear, which is, do you really want to go?
Right.
Do you really want to change? Because you're still making excuses. You're still making it easy for this person who no longer needs easy.
Right.
You did no coddling. You did no catering.
No.
You did a lot of challenging through your own growth.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, if you're focused on your own growth and your own work, then the signs will be very clear on if you stay, if you go, what you should do for yourself. And I found a lot of people don't even know where to start with that as well, which we can maybe get into. But I mean, when I say to people, do you have a betrayal trauma therapist? They're like, what is that? I've never even heard that. So there's things that are so simple that, I mean, I didn't know of that when I first started my healing journey. But there's just so much out there.
That's huge, babe, because it's one of those things where the kind of healing you did was apart from me, and I could see it in your responses. But if you don't know that there's a special kind of trauma that comes along with being betrayed like this, your whole vision, your decision making, even where you go in conversations is radically altered if you get healed in this area.
Yep.
So I wasn't building on a broken woman who has been betrayed. No, she did her work. She's empowered because she went through that. I'm looking at a woman that's filled with a new kind of power, and I think that's the beautiful part of it. But I think it takes, and this is another probably a big news flash. No, it's going to be too much if I say that.
What?
No, I'll say this: if you have there's no easy answer for. Let me say it like this: when I use the word sobriety, you find out in rehab and doing the work that it is a type of intoxication to be in an affair, to be living a double life. So if everybody needs to get sober from that, what you can't do is it'd be like telling someone who's an alcoholic, just go ahead, go run again.
Done, yeah.
Well, they weren't addicted to alcohol. They were addicted to the euphoric rush, the risk, the demand, the chase, whatever it is. It takes 3 years. Any clinical psychologist or counselor will tell you this, at least 3 years to get fully sober. Think about that, 3 years. And then from there, the next 5 years are you forming who you are becoming. Mm-hmm. Think about how much time that is. So you have people who are trying to brush off things. What you don't realize is it takes a lot of freaking work, but it makes you better.
Yeah, I remember people saying that to us that have hit the 5 year mark when we were at the few months mark.
Yes.
And they're like, we're 5 years in and it's still, and I'm like, 5 years, dang.
Yeah.
But that's us now. We're at 4.5 and not
we're
counting.
Different versions of ourselves. So you can't imagine who you're going to be at that time.
Yeah.
That's the trap, because if you're in a different stage, you can't even look at your spouse. Mm-hmm. You're like, 5 years from now, we're still going to be going through some of this. Yes, but you have to imagine yourself as a different version of who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some of the stuff that we go through in the growth, which we'll talk about, it's real, but I mean, you got to be willing to do the work. Lights On is proud to partner with God Behind Bars. And if there's one organization worthy of your time and investment, I believe it's organizations just like this. Let me read you some stats that will really wake you up to the problem of incarceration. In our world, less than 14% of inmates are serving life sentences, and up to as many as 95% of all incarcerated individuals will be released back into society at some point. 27% of those released will return to prison within 3 years. 82% will return to prison within 10 years. God Behind Bars addresses this drastic recidivism problem with a unique approach that focuses on the spiritual, physical, and relational needs of inmates and their families. The mission is very simple. It is to restore lives, rebuild families, and prove that nobody is beyond God's reach, no matter their past or their prison walls. God Behind Bars is changing lives. I saw a clip recently of a father-daughter dance that they did with fathers that are obviously incarcerated. And by the grace of God, they organized this beautiful event. And it made me violently cry because nobody should feel forgotten. Don't care what you've done. And God Behind Bars is changing lives every single day. Proud to partner with them. Check them out today, godbehindbars.com. There is a Pando app that is gaining steam, and they get resources, they get hope, they get mental health help. Through this app, they're reaching a lot of people. So please check them out today. God Behind Bars. What an organization. Lights On is partnering with plana.org. It's a phenomenal organization that is built to empower women who have faced with all kinds of unexpected circumstances, especially when it comes to pregnancy. And they offer support, they offer tools, they offer community. And if you wanted to know how can I immediately help somebody who really needs it, check out plana.org today. We love them. You will too. And you can make a difference in the life of somebody today just by checking them out. Plana.org. We love y'all.
You have actually graduated.
Yes, I have
I
have a certificate.
You do.
Which proves.
From your weekly therapy that you did for almost 5 years.
Well,
we're at 4.5 years.
I'll explain it.
Okay.
I am proud of it. It's a huge self-acknowledgement.
It is.
It was probably one of the most powerful things I've ever done. When you leave a rehab, they give you an outtake care plan. And they'll tell you upon leaving, it's about 70, 80% who are not going to do this. Mm-hmm. And the remainder are the people who try to get it done. And here's the plan. And you look at the plan, you're like, this is a lot of work. And my plan included a 2.5-hour weekly call with 5 other men and our very gangster Jedi mind trick counselor, Alex Katahakis. And I remember she was like, this is the commitment. And I remember going, I've never kept a commitment like that in my life.
Right.
And for 4.5 years straight, I missed probably 2 or 3 for really good reasons, which is going to happen. But 2 hours on a Zoom with a therapist with the same 5 guys, that's something I never thought I would love. Mm-hmm. And I had, you saw my little departure ceremony. I was like bawling because there were good tears because I'm like, this is a big part of my.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I ever would have pictured myself being willing to do anything like that is hard in that way. Because it's a weekly meeting to confront the worst parts of yourself and demand that it changes.
Right.
And that's the kind of stuff that produces growth. So to go from that, so I go from that to a different plan now, which is me, and I meet with my therapist in a different way, from a different format. But to complete something like that, yes, huge. It's for me.
Yeah.
It also mattered to
me.
You. Like in our kids, what was crazy about that is our kids got ingrained to Tuesday night. Dad has therapy on Tuesday nights. Mm-hmm. Dad, after it became a thing, and that one time we had dinner, because I forget what it was, they're like, Dad, you don't have your therapy tonight? Are you okay? I'm like, great question. I am okay. I've checked this out with your mom and my group. But that's the kind of stuff that if you can put it in place, it becomes power, and you start growing in a way. But that's the stuff that people don't want to do. Like, that seems really inconvenient. You know what's more inconvenient? Ruining your life,
right?
Destroying your marriage, hating yourself.
Yeah.
Either way, you got to work.
Well, I think for the spouse. So for me, it was something that I saw you do every week. The consistency of that is what helped build trust in our relationship, and so. Again, I would question a man's intention if they're not in something that like that or similar to see change and see growth and see the rewiring of a man's brain during those times is incredible.
Yeah, it is. That's a great word. It is incredible to see. And our days are filled with random occurrences. Like I think the other day I texted you, I said, hey, I had an occurrence about my brain. And I told you what I needed due to that awareness.
Yeah.
But that was new.
Right.
And that's the beauty of growth. So when people look at growth, sometimes they look at the work. I see it as a blessing now because I'm like, what else would we do? I don't kick myself anymore, but I'm like, again, I cannot stress enough. This is just normal work. This should be normal work. It shouldn't be for the guys who wrecked it. I mean, if you can get this harness, like let's just say you're listening now and you have a beautiful track record of faithfulness and you are diligent, you are consistent. Everything I'm talking about, you can employ right now and everything can just be enhanced. And I'm not saying there's doom down the road if you don't do this. I am saying that some of this stuff, as you're doing it, you're like, why wasn't I always doing this? Like if you're a young pastor, I have all kinds of ideas for what we should do for young people who want to go into ministry that we were not afforded. And not because anybody was wrong. We just didn't know what we know. But sometimes we'll throw the young guns out there. Let's go get it. You know, it's like, cool. We probably should take some time and start asking people questions they've never been asked before. And to me, that's the opportunity of the future, which makes me excited. So there is a common question. How much work is this? I don't know if you get that from the wives, not as much. I get it from the guys like, okay, Carl, I've seen you and Laura kind of try to go forward. Like, how much work is in this? And I always say the same thing. I said, that's a fair question. I said, let me offer you a better question. How free do you want to be? The wrong question is, how much work is this going to take? The right question, how free do you want to be? If you want to be free, the cost is going to be this. If you want to get through what you're going through, the cost is going to be this. And what everybody forgets, and this is like, this is a beautiful revelatory moment. Either way, you got to do work.
Right.
Why not pick the work that actually changes your life? It takes work to have a broken marriage. It takes work to stay addicted. It takes work to have a negative mindset. It takes work to be a bitter wife every day. It takes work to be a jerk of a husband. You got to try to do that. It's what you build every day. So it's not like no one's willing to work. It's the question of direction. Where are you working? I talked to one of my best friends the other day, and he's going through something. I'm like, man, you have worked so hard to have this stupid thought dominate your life. How many hours did you put into this day to make sure you stayed mad? And we calculated. I said, how many things did you miss today because you thought about this? You had to work. You had to intentionally work at becoming the worst version of yourself. So when I saw things in that light, my gosh, my life because I got to work. So if you want to be somebody who's just running your own life outside of a marriage, that's going to take work. What if you put that kind of intention into work that might make you the best version of yourself? I don't think there's any other way around it. I said last week, research shows, and this is from the American Association for Marriage and Family Therapy, Journal of Marital and Family Therapy stuff, all kinds of great info in there. 60 to 75% of couples that experience infidelity stay together if they commit to intentional repair work that is ongoing. That's a stat
huge.
That is really serious because we love to talk about the stats for divorce.
Yeah.
Those are real. But that's a significant amount. That would lead me to believe that something that was sent to destroy you can be a beautiful conduit to something better if you do it together.
It's actually really beautiful that there's that much, like people are actually doing that.
Yeah.
When you both do your work, there can be change and you can have a better relationship.
Yeah. I mean, we both are proponents of a new type of marriage where we get to re-up every year. It's not socially acceptable, but
that is something that we have thought should be
every January 1st, we should bring each other terms and say, you still want to do this? Or are you in?
You're just married for a year and then you can re-up.
It's a 1-year contract every year. We're on like contract 30. Great. But that would be great. But in this world that we live in, I'll give the shift that changed everything for me. I realized I couldn't change anybody's mind about me, not the public, and definitely not you. Mm-hmm. And I think you remember the day that I had that conversation. I think it came out of some work I was doing, and I just said, I just got the memo that I can't change your mind about me. I can't change other people's minds about me, because I kept having these disappointing moments where I thought more of the story is going to come out and people will be sorry that they were so judgmental.
Yeah.
They will understand us more and they'll change their mind. That information will change their mind. And then I would always be let down. And it led me to this point where I was like, got it. I can't change anybody's mind except my mind. Mm. And if I do that, that will probably provide enough evidence for somebody to do what they have to do. But I can't control whether you're going to change your mind about me or not. I couldn't control whether you were going to change your mind about me.
Which is an exhausting way to live.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
But it's so much more empowering to know I can't, Laura, if you're ever going to trust me again, cool. But I'm going to change my life by changing my mind. And after a while, you're going to have to make your call. But it takes the sting out of other people's like opinions.
Yeah.
I remember like hearing, a lady, I've been out of my comments for months and months and months due to comments like I'm about to talk about, but some lady wrote on my thing, which is still, I want to do a whole podcast about why would you do that? Why would you comment? Why would you expose yourself? But this lady said, you don't look repentant to me.
Yes.
And I thought to myself,
that's such a great one.
What a great call. I don't look repentant to you.
I've just seen that one as well. You don't sound like a repentant man. And I'm like, what does that even mean?
Would you like a quick clarity check? What do you mean by that? Do you understand what the word repentant means? Go ahead and do your digging, ma'am. Do your work. Firstly, you're just not going to know.
Yeah.
This is a podcast. We don't know each other. We've never had a conversation. We have a point and a mission to do this. So if that's what you're gauging this off of, but I remember the sting was gone because there was a day where that would have bothered me. I would have been dang it, people aren't changing. I cannot control Jenny from Texas. I can't control her mind about whether I'm a repentant man or not. Newsflash for her, only God knows the hearts of you and me anyway. So it is a fruitless endeavor to try to surmise someone you don't know whether they are truly different in any way, really. That's a different podcast in and of itself. But the radical power of the work is you're like, you can think all you want to think about me.
Yeah.
Think comment whatever you want to comment. Go for your life. I can't control it. Mm. It doesn't mean I don't see it. Doesn't mean I don't hear it. It does mean I'm busy doing this work over here and it's making me a better person. Yeah. So feel free to come on the journey for him. But that is the power of going, I can't change. So if you are listening to this and you are perhaps in the seat I have been in where you have caused wreckage due to your own choices, it is a freeing thing to put in your mind, I can change nobody's mind about me and I don't have to. I got to change my own mind. And if I do that, that's what I can control. I'm pretty confident the results you'll be more confident with anyway. But people are going to make up their minds however they're going to do that. And it's a very safe place to be when you're like, I'm worrying about this right here, this mirror, this man, who I'm becoming, and who knew. That's actually the way of Jesus. We won't even go there. But that's the truth of the gospel anyway. Yeah. So here's what the work looks like so you can really get a good gauge. If you're thinking about this, this is not a fluffy thing. The work that we're a part of, our growth season, includes a lot of confrontation, a lot of discussion.
Yes.
A lot of Aussie curse words from you. Mm-hmm. A lot of kids watching you work it out in real time. Mm-hmm. That's not fun, but it's part of the work.
Right.
If you're really growing as a couple, you just cannot hide the ups and the downs.
No.
And maybe that's part of the growth.
Yeah.
Maybe that makes you even better to say, hey, you saw us fight. Wasn't my best moment. Here's what I did to repair it. Daughters are all ears. My son's watching like a hawk. So even that can be something that's beautiful. But the work looks like this. Number one, it looks like failure. You will mess up. So build a plan for when, not if.
That's good.
I've had failure on this side of the tracks. Plenty. And when I say failure, I mean complete relapse, fall on my face. Well, those details are between us, and they're our standard. I know people's minds can race with that, but I left my own rehab facility with a pretty old school pride that I hadn't broken free of yet, where I was told, now, Carl, you're definitely going to fail. And I was like, I won't. I've been through too much. I'm too smart. I could teach this whole rehab class, monetize it better than y'all. So and, I could be a traveling rehab specialist, and I will never, ever fall on my face because I know too much.
Right.
Didn't go well. Mm-hmm. Definitely fell on my face. And because we're on the same page of discovery, healing, growth, there was room for that to be a part of growth. So if you're on the same page, failure becomes a beautiful lesson that you build from. And there's stuff that comes with that. There's consequence, and there's things that have to be moved and amended and adjusted. But I get a little bit antsy when I sit across from, even if it's a wife who has the kind of dead set ultimatum that if you do this, I'm out. Fair. You can say that. There is a way to talk about the journey that's bigger than that.
Right.
And both have their wins and their losses. We are proponents of the kind of growth that just factors in failure both ways.
Yeah.
For you too.
100%. And I think, again, that is where if there is no growth from that person that betrayed or whatever the situation is, if there is no evidence of change and growth leading up to whatever failure, then of course, peace out, whatever you need to do.
Totally.
But if there is space for the failure.
What kind of failure?
And what kind of failure? I think that's a healthy failure because you're still moving forward. Yeah. Hopefully, if you choose that.
And there is a difference between a positive a moment of failure and growth, where it's something that you learn from, you bring it to the table, you're honest about. The repeated patterns are what point to no growth. Mm-hmm. And if someone is doing that again, that's a different conversation. The conversation we're having is when you have a moment where I've had a couple where I have had a standard for myself and I've fallen short of it. And I've had to bring that to the table and say, hey, I know we have an agreement and a deal. I failed here. And I'm sorry that I didn't keep my commitment to this. Mm-hmm. Let me know this impact so I can seek to make it right if I can. And we go. I don't take for granted that there's not a free pass from you. It's a life of growth that makes room for your humanity. Because as much as I'd like to say, I'm sitting here and man, I got this beautiful path and I'm locked in. I'm a mental strategist. I know what I'm doing. I know myself very well.
Right.
And I'm human. And that means there's going to be moments. So I think if that's a part of your growth plan, beautiful. Put your terms out. Talk about what that means. But even if you watch this with somebody you love and you guys are in the middle of a moment like this, go ahead and talk about it. When I fail, what's that going to look like? What can that failure look like? What can it be? What can it not be? And you have those conversations. And I think it's brings clarity, brings a lot of hope. The work looks like conflict. Failure looks like conflict. This is a sign of growth, not the absence of it. So we have hard days right now because we're growing.
Right.
We've had some beautiful months of chill. And then we've had some months of, you want to trade me?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. That's what it sounds like.
But I think imagine pretending that you're growing, but you never need any new shoes. Mm. Let's just take Roman for an example. If he kept telling me, Dad, I'm growing, but he was always a size 9, I'd be like, there has to come a day where he's like, I don't fit my shoes anymore. This to me is the kind of growth that we're a part of, where it's like, hey, we're at a place of contention because we're both growing. And that's a cool, powerful place to be.
Right. Well, if you can be honest in that conflict and talk freely, where there is no threats and there's no whatever, it's just speaking your mind, getting your whatever nervous system dysregulation is going on, whatever feelings you're having, if you're able to share them freely, then I think that is growth.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you stuff it down and hide some of those feelings,
backwards,
you can't change with that.
We think growth is beautiful. Where else in life is growth beautiful? Like when you see a young boy going from young boy to adolescence, he looks wonky. Right. When you see a young college student going into the world, it can look clunky. When you see someone doing something in the gym for the first time and they don't know what they're doing and they pull a muscle because they did it the wrong way, it doesn't mean they need to leave the gym. It means that they're figuring out something they never figured out before. And I think that's the beauty of the kind of trust and growth you can build. And so that is my hope. If you're listening to this, if you have failed, don't give up. Don't let that be the thing that stops you. Use it to be something that pushes you forward. You have to be honest about it. But that's what real growth. So I think discovery, healing, we're in the season of growth. Does that mean there will be no failure? Of course it doesn't. It means even your failure can be fuel for something that's way better. The work also looks like moments of joy. We've had so many of those that I have looked back sometimes when I've had bad days and I've gone, let me just go through my grateful list real quick. And there's so many moments to point to that I think if you work for peace, you get to enjoy it when it hits. And they become your new vacations. Let me set this up because someone was asking me about vacations. And I was like, man, my real vacations right now, because the idea of a vacation, if you've worked your butt off and now you've got space to sit on a beach. I feel like that about recovery work. But the vacations look like conversations. They look like laughter. We had a moment with our kids the other night. We're walking in the street and everyone's laughing, doing their thing. And I just sat there, I took a snapshot and I thought I'm not letting this one go. This is a moment. This is what makes the work matter. A trip to some other country, great, we'll take it. Some achievement, cool, but the work looks like moments of joy that you cannot get anywhere else. And that's what people get robbed of when they don't do this. Because it's like, I know it's hard. I know it's scary. I know that it's an uphill climb. But if you will do this work, I promise you, there will be moments like we've had so many like that night where I thought, I'm so glad. Because I'm not bashful about this. I'm so happy right now. Our family's together. We love life. We have a relationship that is fractured, human, broken, and beautiful. And I'm just so glad to be sitting here. Work. That's what it looks like. So yeah, it looks like conflict. Yes, it looks like failure. Happy to report that the work that we point to, it also looks like moments of joy that you never could experience the same way without the pain.
Yeah. And I think it's important to remember when there is moments of joy, when you're going through all of this work, because sometimes when there is joyful moments, you feel like you shouldn't be, especially in the early years when we were going through the really hard moments, when I would find myself laughing or enjoying something, I'd be like, wait, should I be?
Yeah.
Is this am I letting too much in right now? So, and I just remember someone, I think it was probably one of my therapists saying to me, it's okay to enjoy that moment of like laughter or fun, like, because it's so heavy on the other side.
Yeah.
To be like, okay, I can freely have a moment, even though I'm still like in a lot of pain and going through this. I can enjoy this moment.
Yes.
And I think that's important for women or men, whatever spouse or situation is. But that one was really helpful for me.
Yeah.
So just a little tidbit.
And me too. I think being able to give yourself the grace to enjoy a moment. And I will say this too with growth. You don't have to grow it all overnight.
Right.
It's like if that's the way you're growing, you're never going to have fun or peace. We're not where we want to be in every area of our marriage. We're okay with that because we can't fix it all. We can't build it all in a day.
Yeah.
But if today's good, hey, let's make it awesome because tomorrow might be challenging and we got to own that one too. So trust me, if I'm not, because I lived a life of self-sabotage where if there wasn't something burning, I had to have a fire.
Make it,
So I had to get used to the days where I'm like, what's not right? What's not working? Let me make sure something is on fire. And you get to a place where you realize, no, I'm healthy. So I got to win. I'm going to sit in it. So that would be my invitation for anybody listening. If you're growing and you're working hard, pick something this week that is a win and just sit in that thing and just enjoy it for a second. You got the rest of the day to worry about the stuff that isn't done yet. But what if you enjoyed it a little bit? We do that all the time. We're good at that.
Yeah.
And what's the, we'll shut this down because I feel like it's a lot. It's heavy. If you are in the place of growth today, keep going. Don't stop. You got to get other people involved in it. And the future's bright because of it. But for you, hardest part of this growth, this is off the cuff. What's it been for you? The hardest part of the growing season?
I think just probably pride, being proud in some moments of like, and letting that go.
I like that.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something that I think you do well. That I have realized not a lot of women do. You have allowed me to still lead and challenge you. So there are times where you hear couples talk about, you can't tell me anything because of what you did. And in the same breath, be complaining about how your husband won't do A, B, and C.
Yeah.
You have every right the rest of your life to be like, I guess, who are you to tell me? But you've never done that. You've chosen to put us on a plane where I can still, and it's hard for me too sometimes when I do point out anything wrong with you, even though there's a plethora of things depending on the day. But it does go through my mind like pretty gutsy of me to bring up an issue.
Yeah.
Considering what's happened.
And I have used that against you a few times. If I'm in a shitty,
I'll be honest with you.
Moment.
I'll be honest with you, babe. It's a great card to play.
Right? I think I've got it forever.
If the roles were reversed,
you would use
live
it.
there.
You would use it.
I'd be like, what's that? I didn't pay the rent this month? You cheated. It would be, I would use it for everything. I didn't pick you up at the airport on time. Guess what? You cheated. I didn't pick up my clothes.
I didn't use it enough.
No, you didn't. You're too kind. You're not as broken as me. But trust me, if the roles were reversed,
oh, I know,
you would be a lackey forever. Like, I don't care. You cheated. Like, you forgot my birthday again? You cheated.
I have used it a few times.
As funny as this is, though, there are people who live this life.
They live like that, which is,
so I don't think it's the most resourceful way to build a marriage. So I will say to the betrayed one, if you're listening now, and you might want to consider kicking around the idea of, do you really want what you say you want? Because if the person who has betrayed you does do the work and they do change their life, are you going to be willing to take that deep breath and allow them to continue to become the person they're becoming? Because whether we like it or not, sometimes we can be the biggest detriment to each other's growth. Yeah. Ooh, we've even seen this, love, before we shut it down. We've seen the growth path switch from a marriage that was destroyed, and the betrayer grows so freaking fast that the person it's like, hey, you might want to check in on the growth train there, because yes, you are right. There was a lot of stuff but that person is thriving, and now it's exposing your lack of work.
Yep.
And that's a tough moment for people who want to remain bitter and want to remain in the seat of the, I'll tell you when I'm ready to listen and trust. That's a tough place to be. So here's what I think we would love. DM me or Laura and let us know about your growth journey, the parts that stick the most, the parts that hurt the most. And we'll continue to kind of shine as much light as we can about our experience to give the biggest 97 million precursor. Our way is not the way. We do not have the answers. We do have ideas, and we have experiences, and we have some mentalities that have shaped who we're becoming, but they might not work for you. That's okay. They might. So it might be worth a try. So if you find yourself in a spot where you got some questions, that's one thing I love about doing this podcast is we do get to sit in some of the relationship stuff and really get into it. And we got some projects we're working on. Yeah. It's going to be a lot of this stuff, but in depth. And it's going to be really helpful because we've realized over these years there's a huge need for it. And we are examples of what? That you can overcome something for a great marriage? No, that's still in process. We are examples of, if you choose to, you can choose painful things, own them, and turn them into something that can bring change in your life. Whether a marriage stays together or not, that is a fruit of healthy people becoming better people. Marriage is right there. So, well done.
Yep.
Lights on, lights off. That's your big thing that you want to be able to say?
Lights off.
I love you.
Love you.
Next week. See you soon. Bye.